just worked for probably 3.5 hours. And I feel pretty good. I feel a little bit of tension. Just wasn't having the best posture at every moment. Even right now, I feel like I could sit up straighter. But today I have a big day of logistics and like miscellaneous. So I wanted to get a bunch of work done first thing and just get straight to it. I'm gonna be busy with family, and then we're traveling, so it's kind of like a vacation, even though we're just existentially traveling right now. So right now we're staying in a hotel, so we don't have a kitchen, so we have to go get breakfast at a bistro, and then go get lunch, and then we're heading to this region about an hour from here. We're looking at a property. We want to build sort of like a residence, like a second home, even though it's technically our first home. But it will be our second home eventually. But sort of like a writer's retreat, kind of mastery cabin residence. So we're looking at a property that we're hopeful about. So, hour of driving each way, meeting with the realtors, surveying the land. That is, 4 hours at least. And then lunch, breakfast, that's another 2.5 hours. And then a spa after breakfast, it's another hour. So my day's already filled up with logistics and miscellaneous, just like I said. So I'm glad I got some stuff done. I got an article written up and live on the site. I improved the site a bit. I emailed template customers. I edited this video. I'm just filming this final piece, and then I'll drop it in. I'll post that, and then go get breakfast. I responded to a client. I just learned as I was just kind of messing around and moving things forward. I'm working on a proposal with a client. It's the biggest proposal I've had with Tekka, being like a sovereign solo founder. And if the deal's commencing, but the proposal I have is going to be a dramatic evolution and almost like an acquisition of some tech I've been trying to build for the last 6 years in different ways, but for the last 2 years. So proposing that the client acquires this tech and we merge and create this really cool AI studio content interface. It's almost like if Notion, Slack, and GPT had a baby. So we've been working on that. And yeah, things are going really well with work, and I'm enjoying making these videos. It's funny, getting relatively meager return on the investment that it takes to do these. And most of the cost of making these is the mental chatter and the challenge of the writer's block and stuff. So it's actually really worth it, whether these videos get views or revenue or whatever. They're really, really helpful, because the process of making a channel and making content and just kind of packaging what you're doing, what you have to share, and understanding your resistance points, just that alone is insanely valuable. I think about old friends watching these and just being like, oh, it's kind of sad, And it's true. From that view, it is sad. But it's all about perspective. the article I wrote today. It's about gaining self-awareness and focusing on that aspect to realize your goals and to become, the higher potential that you see and feel and wish for. So it's like self-awareness leads to self-actualization, but a lot of times we just focus on what we wish we were actualized, and what we wish we had, and then we don't focus on what we are and what we're doing, and then we're just like longing for this thing that we are not, and we feel shameful for the things that we are, that we know we can do better at. And so then we seek distractions and vices to like numb or justify, and then we avoid the virtues that basically bring about awareness and action. So I wrote an article kind of covering that. It'll always be reiterated because it's just a never-ending thing. But yeah, essentially beginning to come back to yourself and observing your thoughts and your actions. It's a continual process, and it's unique to each individual, and it's super abstract. So it can easily be manipulated or misunderstood or ignored. Like, a lot of this can be just like brushed off as woo-woo, or like people can just say that they're self-aware when maybe they aren't, or people can just be like, what are you talking about, and just kind of ignore it or not understand it, which I still carry each of those components and aspects. But one thing I think is important to counter that is to, one, recognize that you'll always be a little bit, you'll always carry a little bit of delusion, but then also, if you can, let's see if I can say this properly. Yeah, just if you can continue to come back to the question of what am I doing and why in different ways, and if you can answer that question honestly and begin to become familiar with that voice inside of you that's honest rather than bypassing or justifying or excusing. So for example, if I react to my partner in a way that's like, like yesterday we were really busy yesterday, and we talked about how we needed to plan our day, and then we left to go get lunch because we were sick of eating lunch at the same place. So we went to go get lunch, and then we got stood up because we didn't make a reservation, and then we went, we were going to go to another place that we've already been, and I just kind of got annoyed, and so I was like, we need to plan better. And I was annoyed at her, but deep down I knew that was delusion, and so it's important to, like, you see the way you're reacting and see the way you're treating others or yourself or creating these stories, and if you can just like remember that you're making up all of these issues and try to come back to that. And so I can like apologize and say, hey, sorry, like that was wrong of me. But the old me would have just like batched that story as like that was her problem. So that's an example of like raising your awareness. Another view that I think is helpful with awareness is realizing it's not just like I'm aware, I'm not aware. It's like I'm aware in this way, I'm aware in this way. I'm aware, there's like, it's levels and like platforms, but they're not necessarily just like this linear progression. Because I notice a lot of times in like spirituality, there's this sort of sour taste you get because people just like think they're better than other people, or there's this perception that they think that. And so it's easy to again, misunderstand it, manipulate it, or ignore it, or despise it. And we kind of taint things, and so it's easy to like pick a side when it's in reality it's like all of it is, there's right and wrong on all sides. So it's technically wiser to pick pieces of the whole grid that align with you. So yeah, being able to observe your thoughts and being able to recognize your patterns, your reactions, your loops. And that's hard because you're on autopilot, and by definition, if you're on autopilot, you're not aware. And so how do you come back to that? And so that's where practices like breathing and stillness and solitude, and like a lot of Buddhist monks, they have the bell, and different reminders to, I need to come back to myself. So it can be an alarm on your phone. That sounds terrible personally, but it can be something, something that, I need to be present. And you'll just find that those little triggers and little reminders you set, they'll come to surface and become the new baseline over time. So just more often I'll find myself remembering to take a deep breath and realize like, I've just been clenching. Just kind of check in. And you'll just see things you were doing, like, I've been rushing today. I don't need to go so fast. And maybe I can move efficiently, but am I calm? Am I willing to sacrifice my calmness to be productive? Where can I find that middle ground? So like little questions, what am I doing? Why? Why did I do that? And then being humble and just willing to apologize and forgive. Like we carry so much blame towards others and victimhood and justifications and narratives, and we're just carrying it all because we want to be right, and we want to be the one that knows, and we don't want to just accept that like sometimes we're selfish, and sometimes it's not black and white. Sometimes it's the big picture, right? You can be mad at someone that mistreated you, but we all make mistakes, and if you're not feeling good or you're going through something, you might accidentally mistreat someone as well, or you might have been raised in a way that you thought that was okay, or that was how you do it, how you respond to people. So rather than saying that guy's bad, that guy's mean, that did this, like just like black and white, you become more like, hey, maybe not. That's something that Socrates was really big on. He had a friend that got to go to like this temple to speak to some wise sage, and he asked her like to tell him like some download that she got, and she said that Socrates was the wisest person on earth. And so he went to his friend, he's like, Socrates, she says you're the wisest person on earth. And he said, maybe, I don't know, maybe not, I don't know. And that was the Socratic method, was I don't know, let's weigh out the options, and let's just find like the most middle ground that we can walk forward in a balanced, like centered reality. And he was so much about that he caused so much disruption that they decided to execute him because he was just disrupting the societal norms and guidelines. And even then, even when he was being executed, he's just like, I don't know, I don't know if it's a bad thing. I don't know if it's a good thing. I don't know. So, not that we need to live exactly like that, but we can learn a lot from that. Like if someone says, this guy's bad, you shouldn't like them. I don't know, That's too bad that you're having a hard time with that person. Rather than, what did they do, You just get into that mix, and you're going to be clenching, carrying more and more and more. Another thing I noticed with vices is like we use them to numb ourselves and distract ourselves and justify things. So vices can be gossip, addictions, or just like little like pleasure things. And there's nothing wrong with like, that's good and I enjoy these things. But when we do it just like because, like I'll notice myself, especially in the past, like just I'd be working and then my mind would want to just like trip and do something else, like go eat a bowl of cereal, go turn on Netflix, like just watch YouTube shorts, like do something to just blah, because it's easy and it allows you to rest and allows you to stop thinking and just being so overwhelmed. And sometimes that's okay if it helps you, but we just let it take over, and then any area where we could be mindful and present and aware, we fill with these like numbing factors and distractions. And then we surround ourselves with people that feel similar justifications to vices. And so like people that drink like to be next to people that drink. Like if you ask like I don't know about with females, but I remember noticing that I told my friends years ago that I hadn't looked at porn since I was like 17, and they would just get quiet. Just like, it was just this weird thing where I'm like, oh, like, this is a conversation. Like, you could say when you have last looked at it, or you could just acknowledge that, but they just would shut off. It's things like that where it's like, oh, we all don't talk about that. Oh, we all do that and we think it's okay. Oh, like, so there's a conformity that surrounds vices. So people that gossip in a certain way like to be around other people that gossip in a certain way. And we all do it. It's not just like me pointing at that. I do it in my own ways, like fully. It's just like everyone has some level of vices and delusion. And so recognizing that and then trying to bring it to light and saying, hey, this is a vice. How can I like play with this? Can I do it less? Can I remove it? Can I change it a bit? What is the upside and the downside? What is the thing that could be replaced with this? Like, and I noticed when I would get the urge to do something that was just like consuming or numbing or distracting, I would realize, wait, there's a thought that's triggered before this thing. What is that thought? And it was usually laziness and gluttony and just like, oh, I want easy. I want easy right now. So that's a big one to work on. But yeah, as you gain in the understanding of yourself and what you do and why you do, you become in control of your reactions in the moment and also in preparation of the moment. And so you're more intentional and methodical and strategic. And so in business and in life and in relationships, it's beautiful because if you intentionally know how you can like make your lover happy and make your child's day and be kinder to your teammates, you do it because you consciously intend to, and you process it because you have time, rather than just like, you know, do, this is what I'm doing. And so you have like a more natural, raw experience of life, and you can like prepare for moments and anticipate and be more conscious and intentional. And so that's where the self-actualization comes to life, because it's like, I've become aware, and now I'm going to intend with my actions and with my direct experience. And so then the outcome becomes more intentional and connected. And then that's where self-actualization happens. And so then through the process of iteration, through trial and error, basically error correcting and consistently returning to that, you grow and you reach goals. And that's where compound results occur. So that's where I've been able to see benefits in my health and wealth and relationships. And I have a long way to go. You know, I'm not perfect, and it's not all butterflies and fairy tales, even though I'm looking at beautiful rolling hills of wine vineyards and little castles on hills as we speak, but it's not perfect, right? I was arguing with my partner yesterday and being rude because we were wasting an hour driving around, and that was my fault as much as hers. And I'll get annoyed at strangers, and I'll be stressed about Airbnb not having Wi-Fi, and like, it's all stuff that's gonna trigger you. But I like to think that a lot of my reality has been improved because of self-awareness, and I also like to think that I held on to triggers, justifications, narratives, excuses, and just that useless heavy weight for less time than I would in the past. So I think my kids getting up and my partner, so I'll get this video live, and then we're gonna head to breakfast, spa, lunch, drive to the mountains, go look at this property. Hopefully we buy it. Hopefully it's aligned, or it leads to whatever is aligned. And yeah, thank you so much for watching. If you made it all the way through that intro and then through this, I'd be very surprised, but thank you, and have a beautiful day. You know where to reach me, and you know what to do. See you next time.